Hi everybody, welcome to the fall. My name's Phillips Patton. I'm a licensed acupuncturist. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the immune system as we see it from the traditional Chinese medical point of view and what it has to offer in terms of preparing our body for these shocks of cold and the cold and flu season. This can be hard on the system and give an opportunity for viruses and bacteria and other goodies to knock us down. So let's see what traditional Chinese medicine has to offer us in terms of maintaining and creating a nice, strong field around ourselves so we can remain healthy and vital. Chinese medicine has an extremely effective understanding of how the immune system works, and also a lot of therapies, including herbs, acupuncture and acupressure, and Qi Gong exercises that can really help strengthen what we would call your Wei Qi field. So I wanted to talk about what we call in Chinese medicine the three treasures, which are basically Jing, Qi, and Shen. Jing is very physical. It's our constitution, it's our bone marrow, our essence, and our genetics, essentially. And then we move outwards to Qi, which is our energy, and then to Shen, which is like our spirit. It can also be translated as mind. And they say that the Shen field is very big. It can be for some people. Some people you might notice walk into a room and there may be hundreds of people in the room and everybody turns and looks at them. They just have a big, big spirit. And other people have the ability to shrink their spirit and even be like invisible. Like you don't even remember that they're there. They're just hiding their spirit a little bit. So that's one way to think of Shen. It can be a very big field. It's often at least out here. How does Shen interface with the immune system? Well, the Shen, they say, it's the heart of the emotions. So when you're agitated or thrown off your center, you're not sitting in your power. And so if you've been thrown off emotionally, this is when you could get sick. You can see other people's emotions, but not take them on, right? Very important. Okay, and then on the other hand, we have Jing, which is very physical. And this is something that's very hard to change, but this is sort of like our constitution of what we're given from our parents, our genetic predispositions, if you will. So you can learn about your Jing and you can strengthen your Jing. It's important to know how strong your Jing is and to note things that run in the families. Like in my family, we do have a tendency in my father's line, my father, my sister, and I all got Epstein-Barr or mononucleosis, and we were all like laid out for months and months and months. So if you know about sort of predilections like, oh, my heart, the heart disease runs in the family, then you know how to take care of yourself more, right? You know what to focus on and what to look for. They say the Jing is situated in the kidneys in the body, and in the bone marrow. So you can focus on things that restore and preserve your reservoir of Jing. Okay, and then the main thing that we're going to talk about tonight is Qi. So Qi, which just means energy, it has the characters for rice and the steam rising, is in between. It's like that quantum state that's in between a particle and a wave form. It's sort of living in that zone of possibility, in between the physical and the spiritual. There's something called Qi. And if we could understand exactly what it is and narrow it down and measure it, it wouldn't be Qi anymore. So we're going to leave it as a little mystery. It's sort of, this is getting into sort of the Taoist aspects of Chinese medicine. So let's focus in on this field that surrounds us. It's called the Wei Qi. It lives on and right above our skin. And you can think of it as our protective Qi. And it's most important here in the fall, in the metal element, which is the element of letting go. And so it's associated with the lung organs, the skin, and the large intestine, which kind of eliminates and lets go of things. And these are the elements we need to take care of the most in this season of fall when they're sort of under attack from pathogenic influences. Obviously, one other thing that happens coming up here is the holiday season, where we typically eat a lot of sugar. And I think sugar is another thing that can disrupt your regulatory system and create a better habitat for invasive pathogens to make a home inside. It kind of reduces your immune system. So that's a huge factor to take into account. The other thing that's very traditional is that one would wear a scarf in the fall and protect this area where cold and flu viruses are trying to come in through your sinus system and through the neck area. So we want to keep ourselves nice and warm and cozy in the fall. This is what you'd call traditional wisdom from both the West and the East, is wear a scarf, right? Let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is this wind that I drew up here in the corner of my beautiful picture here. So wind, the Chinese pictograph does include the character for insect in it. So I think the ancient Chinese did have some idea that there were airborne, tiny little disease vectors of some form. And it's coming at us, and if it can get all the way in, then we're gonna get sick, right? So we wanna have a strong emotional field so that we're cohesive and we're like aligned with our life purpose, and we don't have time to get sick, and we're not allowing that possibility in on kind of like a spiritual level. And then on the Qi level, we want to have a strong Wei Qi, strong sinus and lungs and immune system to block anything that does get in. And then we need to have underlying good health. So the doctors from China and the East have thousands of years of documentation of dealing with plagues and pandemics that swept through the center of civilization really at that time. And one of their most powerful tools that they came up with are these very advanced formulas. Chinese herbal formulas work in a very cool way that's a little bit too detailed for me to get into. But essentially, there are sort of antibacterial and antiviral herbs for each stage of an invasion, as you're getting a sinus, and then maybe you're getting maybe then it's attacking your throat. Maybe then you're getting fever or chills, you know. Maybe it's getting into your lungs and you're starting to cough up things. Maybe you're feeling achy in your joints. All of these things are well understood, and there are different herbal components that they put together. And they're also supporting your digestion during this time. It's always good to drink ginger and drink and have soup like bone broth, you know, to nourish that body so that it can create a strong immune system for you. So one of the traditional formulas taken this time of the year by people who need to support their immune system a little bit more is called jade windscreen. And basically it has astragalus, which is an herb that raises the qi, the yang qi, and kind of creates a nice strong field. And then it has baizhu, which is very good for handling damp and also strengthening the qi. And then feng feng takes this to the skin layer, what we'd call the interstitial tissue. This is a formula that's taken in the fall. You would take maybe 1 or 2 bottles worth to strengthen this Wei Qi field so that you'd be, you know, super strong throughout the winter. And then the other thing I would recommend would be some of like Paul Stamets mushroom tinctures, including things like reishi and so on. I and most other acupuncturists will have formulas for every sort of viral, bacterial attack at different levels, as well as some preventative formulas like this. So inquire about those if you're curious or if you need support. Obviously, acupuncture itself really does summon up, there's certain points that are really good for the immune system, often on the lung and large intestine channels. And we're gonna do some acupressure in just a little minute here to activate that for yourself. You can also just go in if you need support and get an acupuncture treatment that will restore balance and remind your body to activate its immune system, especially if you're one of these people like I was who had a dysregulated immune system. And then the other thing, which is interesting, taught to me by my classics instructor, he said that one of the best things you can do is if you're starting to get sort of sinusitis or swelling or feeling that kind of gross feeling in your throat, is you can activate your histamine system in that interstitial tissue by pinching your neck here. So this is a technique that he swore by. And it's funny because he was teaching this ancient wisdom from thousands of years before, and this is the best technique, he said. So I like to actually give myself a massage, and by turning my head to the left, I can create a very prominent sternocleidomastoid muscle there. Kind of find those acupressure points in there, and the trapezius going down the back. And all of this muscle tissue, if you have a good flow of qi through the muscle tissue, then any kind of infection trying to come in through this vulnerable occiput neck area will be taken care of by your immune system. So giving yourself a nice massage in here, and then including my teacher's pinching method. And then I like to kind of give myself a massage by grabbing that muscle and little sore areas and give myself a little massage there. So try that out, why don't you? Turn your head one way and make those muscles prominent, and then just kind of work your way down. This is a really good way to activate your own immune system and get everything flowing. So while we're doing some acupressure, another good area to focus on is this upper chest area. Everywhere I travel in the world, people touch this area to show that something is heartfelt. So let's use our healing hands and do some gentle acupressure on these points to make sure our Shen, or our spirit field, is nice and strong and coherent, and that we've released any kind of emotions that we hold up here. So we can go through our life with a nice warm heart and a nice coherent spirit. So let's start at the sternum. You can just tap to activate this area a little bit, starting right here at the kind of the heart center, and then sliding the 4 fingers out into the intercostals, the soft tissue in between the ribs. You can kind of dig in here and see if you can find an area where there's some density, where it hurts so good. I often will start with this sort of yang massage-like approach, and then once I find a good point, right here, I'll take a few breaths with it, and I slowly will gentle my touch, switching from a yang to a yin approach, yin being a more gentle, receptive, holding sort of approach, the counterpoint to yang. And this is switching from sort of what we might call massage to what you might call acupressure. To communicate with our body through acupressure, they say that the best weight to use is like the weight of 1 nickel. So you're just barely touching it. But for me, it helps to dig in first with a firm grip, really connect with a good acupuncture point. Once you find it though, gentle your touch slowly, and maintaining contact until you get to a nice area where you're still touching it, but just lightly. Becoming more receptive and listening to ourselves. Instead of pushing another message into the body, maybe we're going to receive information or have a heart-to-heart conversation with these acupressure points. So experiment with that and see if you can slowly induce a sort of healing state. You'll feel more calm, a little bit, maybe you'll feel a little bit spacey, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more in the parasympathetic nervous system. Rest and digest. And this allows your body to go into maintenance mode. It allows your immune system to work more effectively. In this state, we can also communicate more deeply with our innermost selves, which sort of our subconscious. It speaks in the language of images and sounds and colors. So there's a few different things that we can do. One of them is we can use the healing sounds for the lungs to release any kind of tension held in this area. So that's, we can go. Take a big breath in. Feel if that helps deflate some of the pent-up emotions holding in your chest. You could also try shh with an H sound. Shh. So one thing we can do is activate the entire large intestine channel, which starts at the sinuses, crosses over, works our way down the neck, down along the shoulders, down through LI11 right here, a good point for inflammation. There's an immune system point a little bit lower, see if you can find that one. Lung 5 is right there, good for clearing the lungs. And we could just kind of massage out along the lung channel, which goes along the inside of the arm and out through the thumb. And the large intestine channel, which goes along this ridge here and out through the index finger. And then, of course, you're going to hit LI4, this really good point that activates that entire channel. It's good for tooth and jaw pain, sinus infection, activates the immune system, and moves qi all through the body. It's also known in common parlance as the headache point. So massaging that point on both sides, making sure you kind of get this whole area flowing. See if you can feel the whole area moving and more alive, and this will help your body's immune system do its job better. So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about the 3 treasures and creating a strong field for ourselves from the Chinese medical tradition. I wanted to leave you with just a single Qi Gong exercise that would be the exercise to strengthen your lungs and your immune system. Prepare yourself for the winter. So the lung yin tonification exercise, connecting the lung channel, which ends at the thumb, and the large intestine channel, which starts immediately afterwards at the large intestine. By connecting these 2 channels, we're connecting that metal element and focusing in on creating that strong field for ourselves. It's sort of like a mudra. You can put your hands together there, your knees can be bent, your elbows slightly bent. Nothing super rigid or straight in Qigong, everything flowing. And so then inhaling through the nose, we just open our chest, open our arms out, and bring in white Qi, inhaling in white, bright Qi into the chest. Like this, and then exhaling out, bring the palms up and release. So I add to that my own flair, which is that I elevate the chin as I inhale, and then I exhale through the mouth, tucking the chin. And that sort of engages the core and the spine. You can open your chest and lower it, releasing stagnant old Qi, bringing in bright new Qi. So just do a few of these with me if you want, and see if you can charge yourself up, creating a nice, strong field for yourself, for your immune system this winter. How does that feel? Thanks for joining me today. Tune in for more coming up.